Hello and welcome to another video by BeerBoxVape. And today we have a hardware review for you. We have our first mechanical mod review for you on this channel, and today we will be reviewing the older Fury S by SMOK. So let's jump straight into it. Now, I know you're probably thinking, why is he reviewing the Fury S? That thing's been reviewed to death. You know, it's over a year old, everyone's sort of tried it anyway, and you know, they either love it or they hate it. Now, the only reason I'm reviewing this is purely because I've seen so many people, you know, on YouTube, they've had a lot of problems with this, you know, with it failing, they're having the switch getting hot, they're having the switch sticking, you know, it's, people just think, well, you know, there's better ones out there, and yes, there is, you're right, there are better ones out there. So I wanted, you know, give this a second chance. I wanted to do a review on it, up-to-date review, so it makes people think about it again. And then, you know, people that have this, see if they want to try it again, you know, try a few tips that I'll show you down below in a minute, and then, yeah, kind of go from there. Now, I picked this up from my local vape shop, kind of as the crow flies, and that's just outside Dublin, in a place called Dunleary. Now, the shop's called Cigatech, and I'll put a link to their website down below, so you can check them out. I did actually purchase this myself. When I walked in, I saw it, and thought, oh, you know, I've seen all these things, and I was actually kind of looking at reviews on it a few days just before I bought it, so I was like, oh, I've got to get it, got to check it out, you know, got to do another review on it, try and sort of give a bit of love to this little product. So I picked it up, came home, and started trying it, and you know, I'd never actually used the Fury S before. I've heard about the problems, never used it. I was, you know, vaping it when I got home, and I was thinking, what are people on about? There's nothing wrong with this. And then all of a sudden, the switch started sticking, and it burnt my finger right at the same time, and I was like, oh, come on. So I was like, well, you know, I had a look online, see what people have said. You can get replacement bottom switches for it, but that costs money, you know, you've already spent money for the product. Now, it only cost me 40 quid, 40 euro, which isn't bad, that's very good, you know, for an authentic mod. So I thought, you know, I don't really want to be buying another switch, there's nothing wrong with it, really, you can't take it apart. So let's have a look. So what I did is, well, I'll go into it when we go down below, and I managed to get it working perfectly, and I do really like this mod. Is it the best mechanical mod out there? Not by far, but let's have a look. Let's dive down, have a look, and see exactly what you get and how they do it. So this is the packaging that the SMOK Fury S comes in. It says SMOK Fury S there. Nothing on the sides at all, just a plain black box. Oh, right way. And on the back it's just got all your information there. It says it's an 18650 mod, and it's stainless steel. So, let's crack her open. Right, so that's what you're greeted with when you open the box. You have your mod right here, and then a little magnet. So let's take the mod out the way, and then let's talk about what else you get in the box. So you get another little magnetic bit, we'll talk through that in a sec. And underneath there, you have your SMOK user manual, and this basically just tells you how to use everything, how to set it up, how to insert the battery, how to adjust the ring, how to do everything really. So worth a great read that is. And obviously don't use it if it's raining. Right, so in the pack you get your little 7 amp fuse. It says down, and the other side says up. You can read that. And what that does is, when you get the mod here, say you've got your little skull on there saying Fury S as well. Let's go, and on the other side it says SMOK. Right, so you unscrew the bottom bit, which is your button, just like that. And it already comes installed with another magnet. And then what you do is you unscrew your top, which is your end cap for your atomizer. Nice 5-10 threads on that. Really smooth. See if we can get better light in here. And the centre post now is not actually spring loaded, it's manually adjusted by this pin here. What you do is you just turn that, set your atomizer on, adjust it back, and then put it all together. So what you do is pop the atomizer cap on, only goes on one way as well, so you can't get that wrong. And then what you do is you grab your battery, make sure it's positive up. That just slides down in like that. And then what these little magnets are for is, this is what makes the switch. So you've got a magnet here along with the magnet in the switch, and when they push on each other, let me take that other magnet off. When they push on each other, as you can see, and when they push on each other, it actually opens the switch, but obviously it's not doing it. That's one of the problems I have had with this, and I will talk through that. So like I say, this one's rated to 7 amp, and this one doesn't have a rating on it, so I take it it's just straight through, just the magnet making the connection. So you make sure that the upside goes up in the battery, and then what you do is you just screw your switch on. Make sure she's tight, and then make sure she's unlocked, and then that's what makes the connection. You can hear that click as well. I say that's one of the problems that they do have with the Fury S. And on the bottom does say designed by SMOK, and it's got Fury S. Now what happens if you've got a locking ring right here? You've got a little red dial. At the moment, as you can see, it's on lock, and you turn it, unlock, lock, unlock. Pretty simple. It does turn 360 both ways, and then like I say, here's your top. So the way I normally set this up is I take off the top cap. I just unscrew this pin a little bit with my hand. Then what I do is I get my atomizer, screw that on all the way until it's nice and flush like that, and then I screw this pin in just by hand until I feel it can't go anymore. Then what I do is just back that off a tiny bit and just screw that in a little bit, and so now that's perfectly adjusted. And then I screw my battery pack back on, and as you can see, she's nice and flush at the top there. Now the trouble is you do get a little gap between the top of the battery and the actual device, but that's happened with everything I've put on. It doesn't ever go down flush. I mean, you can take your atomizer off, especially with this Alliance as well, and you can actually adjust that pin in, and then you get a better connection. But you know, that little gap there, you know, for the sake of that, it doesn't really bother me. So let's say there's not that much of a gap anyway, as you can see. Right, so what you do is you make sure she's unlocked, just hold the fire button down, and she's going. Now what I'm going to actually do is just unscrew my atomizer and then talk to you about this. And now the button, you can hear it sometimes. It does get stuck, and that's because when you're pressing the button, if you hold it like that and you press it with 2 fingers, equal pressure, you're pressing it square. Whereas if you just hold it, press it with 1, and you don't press it in the middle of the button, you press it on the side, what it does is along down here, it actually just creates grooves, and then it'll get stuck and then go tonk and then come back out. Now a way I've walked around is to fix this is very simple. All I've got is just a 6B pencil, very simple. So 6B seemed to work best for me, and all I do is I just draw it on this little gap here, all the way around. You don't need much, all the way around. And what that's doing is the graphite in there will actually serve 2 purposes. 1, as a lubricant, and 2, it will actually, a mild abrasive, you know, you can see a bit on the desk, and that sorts out the button. The button works perfect, it's really free now all the time. So that's sorted out. I know a lot of people have had that problem, you know, and a lot of people have actually stopped using their device purely on the fact that the button sticks, and you don't want a button sticking, because if that sticks, the atomizer is going to be firing all the time, and then you're going to have a bad time. So that's that. The second problem that people have having is the button getting very hot, and sometimes when you do hold it and the button does get hot, you know, you do get like, oh, that's pretty hot like that, and then you have to let it go. So where I found around that is one, make sure the device is very clean, and you can see in there's a tiny bit of dirt and grime. What you do is you just get a bit of kitchen roll or a bit of tissue, make sure that's clean, make sure there's no dirt on this side, no dirt there, take that out, take the top cap off, you know, make sure there's no dirt anywhere in it, you know, this pin, make sure the pin is tight, screw it all back down together, you know, pop the battery back in, and you can see the marks it does actually leave on the bottom of the battery, you know, just because I'm trying to make sure that it is making a good connection. Now check your battery wraps as well, you know, because you don't want anything shorting out inside or anything like that. Like I say, pop that in, make sure she's all clean. Obviously I haven't got time to clean it now, but make sure she's all clean, make sure she's locked, can't press the button. It does move a little bit, but trust me, that doesn't fire it. And then you unlock it, she's all the way free. So say, screw your atomizer back down on it. Sits nice and flush. And then what I've been using on this is a 0mg Wicked E-Drip, and this is called Nana Boom. It's a 0mg, and I will be doing a full review on. They sent me 3 juices, Wicked E-Juice. You can visit them at wickedejuice.com, and that will be the next review coming up. Never mind these coils, they're a bit dirty. So what you do is you just put a bit of juice on there. Now the ramp up time, this is a freshly charged battery. It does take a couple of seconds for it to, you know, to ramp up. But when it gets going, she chucks it. It's brilliant. So that's a in-depth view at the Furious. Now, if you're a fan of the skull, crack on. For me, not a big fan of it. Not a big fan of the skull. But you know, it's a nice device. It's stainless steel. It's nice and heavy. It feels well made. You know, I mean, this product, as I'll talk about in a sec, cost me 40 quid, you know, €40. Now I know it's a year old, couple of years old, but the reason I bought it is because I've seen a lot of reviews in it, I've seen people having problems, and I just want, you know, to show you that there are a couple of ways of sorting out these problems. So if you do have one, go grab it, give it a try again, and then, yeah, see if, you know, doing what I do makes it any better for you. So let's go back up top now, talk about a few pros and cons, where you can get it, and, you know, would I actually buy it? Do I think it's worth the money? So, see you in a sec. Right, so that was the Fury S by SMOK up and close, and as you can tell, hopefully those fixes that I've tried, hopefully they work for you. You know, I know similar things have been mentioned online about the Switch. You know, you can use graphite grease, which in essence is very similar to a 6B pencil, you know. Apart from this, just, you know, provides the actual graphite. But I didn't really want to be using any kind of grease, any contact grease or anything like that, you know, because I didn't want to be shorting it out when I'm pressing the button. So yeah, I mean, 40 quid the thing cost me. Now, do I think it's worth the money? Now, you get problems. It's nowhere near the best one, like I said before at the start of the video. It's nowhere near the best mechanical mod out there. So you don't want to be looking at it like that. Now, the way I look at it, is it a good mod for 40 quid, euro? Definitely. It's an authentic mod. It looks great. I'm not a big fan of the skull on there, but that could be your thing, you know. It looked great. Hits hard-ish, you know. And, you know, I mean, especially as well when you get a little 7-amp magnet in there as well, you know. So you do get a bit of safety, but the trouble is you obviously have to understand Ohm's law. Now, with me, I've got a, do you mind the dirty coils? I've got a 0.3 ohm dual fused Clapton build in here, and that's coming at 0.3 ohms. Now, with that, using Ohm's law, that works out to about 25 amps. So if I was to stick this 7 ohm fuse in there, or 7 amp, sorry, fuse in there, that would just blow it straight away, you know. It's not designed so. With that, I mean, where it's going down so low on this is why I'd rather use it in, say, a dual parallel mod, but you're not holding down the button. Now, the battery I have got in here is actually rated to 30 amps, so there's not a problem with that, but, you know, I still don't want to be holding it down. And since I've done these fixes, you know, it's not 100% perfect. You do sometimes get the hot button, but the button never sticks on me, you know. As long as, I'd probably do it every 2 days, just run a quick line of sort of the pencil around it, blow it out, and it's good to go. So once again, the shop where I got it from was Sigatech, and they're in actually Dunleary in Dublin, if you want to check them out. Yeah, also as well, we've got a couple of giveaways coming up. There is Sunday is the giveaway for the Alliance V2 RDA. I'm giving that away on Twitter. I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. We've got another couple of giveaways coming up by the company I did a review for, Juicy Fruit. So keep your eyes on this channel for that, and I'll be explaining everything, how it's going to happen on there. Also as well, we've got a review of the Wicked Egypt juice. They sent me 3 of them to review. That's going to be coming up next. Loads of stuff, loads of busy channel stuff coming on the channel anyway, so make sure you like, comment and subscribe to make sure you keep up to date with everything on here. And happy racing.